Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk. I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1. This one is going to be our first episode for our new year 2025, saying goodbye to 2024, bringing in 2025 with a special guest. But before we dive in with our guest today, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody out there for the support from 2024, and hopefully we can keep the show growing here in 2025. And with that, I ask that if you are enjoying the show, you hit those like buttons, those subscribe buttons, make any comments. I'm open to feedback. Do all those follows, all those fun things that the algorithm says, and hopefully we keep getting this show growing and get the word out there to everybody, not only here in the United States, but as you're going to see today, all across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me some international flavor with us today. So I have Miss Cris Ascanio coming to us from Guadalajara, Mexico. Cris, how are you? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be publishing this one on New Year's morning. So for all the people that are out there, maybe a little hungover right now as you're listening to us, I certainly will not be. I'm probably lying, but that's okay. So, Cris, coming to us from Mexico, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, welcome to the show once again. And so I had reached out to Cris a couple weeks ago to try to set up a time to get her onto the show, just because I was really intrigued. For those people that are following on Facebook, I posted the poll about what countries maybe different people are coming from. And I had a couple people hit me up from Mexico, and I know that Cris has been following the show. So I reached out to her because I'm really intrigued by what we have going on just south of us here in the United States. And my main intrigue is one that Cris and I kind of talked about. We had met about a week ago just to chat, just to get to know each other a little bit. But how American football is growing in a country like Mexico, a very soccer dominated, or what we call soccer dominated, but football dominated sport in Mexico. How the American football is growing. Cris, can you tell the listeners a little bit about what's going on down in Mexico with football? Now, you had mentioned that you started off as somebody who played football first. So, tell the listeners a little bit about your playing history too. And now, to preface this was tackle football that you were playing, not flag football, correct? All right.
So I was very interested. And when I started studying in college, there was a team, a female tackle football team that it didn't belong to university because we didn't have female tackle football uh, in college,
Okay.
but the university where I studied, they allow us to train in their facilities. So that's how I found this team, and I start to train with them, and then I start playing. So I play for 5 or 6 years,
Very
and
nice.
yeah, was a great time for me. I learned a lot, and I just start love more football.
Now, with the female tackle football league and who you were playing against, was it 11-on-11 football? I think you mentioned it was a smaller size football.
Yes, yes, it was smaller. First was 7-on-7, then
Okay.
8-on-8, and unfortunately, at first here in Mexico, female tackle football started as linear football.
Oh, really?
Because yeah, yeah,
So
because of the
lingerie
popularity.
football, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
because of the popularity it has
Yeah.
in the US, when they made like halftime shows on linear football. So yeah, it's the way it started here in
Okay.
at least here in Guadalajara. So yeah, that's how I started. But then there were another leagues of tackle football, like complete equipment. So yeah, that was so much better, and was 8-on-8, and it's just like amateur leagues because, as I say, pues here in Mexico there are not like college
Okay.
football or professional football for female. So
Now you had a pretty good successful career playing. I think you won a couple championships with the teams that you were playing with, playing a little quarterback and some of the skill positions.
yes, yes. I wasn't the first quarterback. I was like a
Okay.
second quarterback, but my main position was wide receiver. My first years playing, but I also was useful for quarterback sometimes, and yeah, we have like 3 championships in the time that I played, and it was really fun. I always wanted to play on defense, but
Okay.
yeah, but for some reason, well, we were just like we play 8-on-8, but most of the time we were only like 12, 15 girls playing, so many of us like play offense and defense. So yeah, I think because I was a quarterback or wide receiver, my coach didn't want me to put on defense and get injured or something, and
Yep.
yeah, because so yeah,
That
I start
that is
playing.
quite common, especially with the quarterbacks. A lot of
Yeah,
quarterbacks only play offense because the importance of them. So I definitely can understand that. So
yeah.
let's talk about now. You've moved on from playing, and now you're a football official. Tell the listeners a little bit about what motivated you to become a football official, and just what your process was on how you became a football official.
Sure. Well, when I finished playing in 2019, I was really sad because I really love football. But then COVID started, so I missed like 2 years without not being involved in football. And in 2021, I start to thinking how can I be still related with football, and some of my friends from my team and my head coach start to officiating in a crew here in Guadalajara, in an officiating group. So I asked them if I can, I don't know if I can join them. So I start to going to some games as a chain with the chain crew.
Okay.
And yeah, I start get more interest in become an official. So in that year I start to study and to be more in touch with other officials, so they can teach me some stuff and how can I start it with mechanics, with the rule book, and other stuff. So yeah, I get really compromised with that. And
Okay.
for the next year in 2022, I start working as an on-field official. So yeah, and my preparation, it's like it's a constant pathway. So yeah, uh, that's how I started.
So now you mentioned the mechanics and the rule book. What do you try to phrase this correctly? But what rule book were you studying, and what rule book does your league go by? Is it like the NFL rules? Is it our NFHS high school rules? Can you tell the listeners what was it that you were studying?
Oh yeah, it's the one for the NCAA.
NCAA. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, the one that is used for college football in the US. It's the same that we
Okay.
use here in Mexico. For most of the leagues here in Mexico, we use that rule book and that mechanic book also. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, majority of my listeners, we have a high school rule book that we
Yeah.
kind of go by. Most of the states here in the United States go by the NFHS, the National Federation of High School Sports.
Okay.
And then as they move up, there's a couple states that do go by the NCAA, Texas being one of them, which is one of the closer ones to you. Um, but then we have our professional league, and there's always consistent change and nuances to the sport and everything like that. So how is it that you work on trying to stay up to date on any type of rule changes and different things like that? What are some resources that you use?
Okay. Yeah, we have some mentors here in Mexico, some officials that are really connected with another officials in the US. So they have some resources from the COC, I think.
Okay.
And we each year we have the new rule book and the new mechanic book, and they made some like kind of clinics here in Mexico. Sometimes are online, to review the new changes on the rules and on mechanics. So that's how we keep updated.
Okay.
And yeah, we have some people here in Mexico that are working in the US, in Division 3 and Division 1 in the NCAA. Mhm.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Um, so now, are you a part of a crew? Do you have a set group of people that you're always working with?
Yes, yes. Here in Guadalajara, I start with the crew The name is Flat de Occidente, and here in Mexico there are many associations, like associations in Mexico City, in Tijuana, and in many cities.
Okay.
And we used to work only with our crew. Like here in Guadalajara, I only work with Flat de Occidente. But with the professional league, um, they are trying to do mixed crews.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes we have to move to another city to work with another crew, or we receive some people from another crews to work here in Guadalajara. And yeah, that's very interesting, and I think it's really good for like learning from others and try to be like in the same level.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And the more that you can kind of network yourself and the more
Yeah.
people that you can meet, definitely the more learning opportunities you have. So, for your games, how many officials are on the field for the games? We'll start with the professional level because you're officiating at a couple different levels. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So, how
Yeah.
many officials are in the professional games?
Okay. Yeah, in the professional game, we are 8 officials, eight
Okay,
on field, and we have uh instant replay official too. Yeah, for
and
professional
at
league,
what position?
we have boot review, so yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What position do you officiate?
Field judge.
Field
Yeah,
judge.
field judge. Yeah, field
Okay,
judge and sometimes side judge. Yeah, but I'm a deep wing. Yeah.
you're a deep wing.
Yes.
Now, as you go down with the different levels, and I know you said that there's not necessarily college football. What are the different levels called as you get with the younger players?
Yeah. For example, there's a category in the high school level that it's called with Jode category.
Okay,
And we officiate with 6, sometimes 5, but most of the time are 6 officials. And like with children, it could be 4 or 5 officials on field.
okay,
Yes, and in college football, it's most of the time it's 8 officials too, and it started to use in some games since the last year. It started to use the instant replay, but it's just like a pilot
okay.
because yeah, but they are um figuring out if it's working or not, because all the resources that they need to have the instant replay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely an issue we had here in New Jersey with the different camera angles for the
Yeah.
high school level. So we started it. We were actually one of the pilot programs in the United States for the high school level, but we kind of put it on the wayside because the resources just weren't there when you were working a high school game and
Yeah.
well, you got a play going down the sideline. There's not a camera angle on the sideline, so it was
Mhm.
kind of difficult in that aspect to truly do it. But
Yeah.
so now when you're working, say even the youth level, are you still staying deep, or do you like work the sidelines at all, or are you going to be a white hat? Is that an aspiration or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, with children and youth categories, I working as in the sideline, like a line of scrimmage official, and also as a white hat. Yeah,
Okay,
most with children. I've been working some youth in some youth categories, some games in youth categories as a white hat. But yes, I have this goal to maybe in college football. I I someday I could be white hat.
okay.
Yeah.
And now I want to clarify for all the listeners that are out there. This is men's college football and professional football that you're officiating. Am I correct? It's not the female league.
Yeah, it's men tackle football. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
we have some female leagues as the ones that I used to play. but it's not many here in Guadalajara.
Okay.
Most of them are concentrated in Mexico City. Um, so yeah, most of the football that I officiate it's with men.
Okay. So then that has to lead me, and I've had on a couple of female officials before, Kat Conti in the NCAA. Sonia a couple weeks ago was working high school and NCAA. She's doing a lot of stuff with flag football. What challenges are you finding as a female football official, and not only a male dominated sport, but also we talked about a soccer dominated country? Are you finding some challenges being a female out there?
Sure, yeah. Well, there were a couple of females before me
Okay,
here in Mexico. So of course they have more challenge and more difficulties. And when I start officiating, they have been like become some challenges. So
okay,
um, right now I think it's that here in Mexico, coaches and players think that you have to you need to have experience as a player to be an official.
okay,
And because female tackle football is not professional or is not like as a college level, it's just amateur. They think that we don't know what we are doing, what we are doing there. So that's the most important challenge, I think,
okay.
to prove, yeah, to prove that we have the knowledge and the skills and the, yeah, the ability to work as an official, as uh as a male, you know, a
Well,
man
I,
official.
I I love that you're proving them wrong with what you're doing. So keep going with it, and kudos to you with that. That's great stuff.
Thank you.
So with that being said, as you're typically a deep wing. Sometimes you're working down a little bit closer. How are you liking the speed of the game? Are you finding any challenges with the speed of the different levels and different things like that? But having your playing background definitely helps you see and understand things a little bit better than what what some of the coaches are thinking, I'm sure. But what are some challenges that you're facing just in general as a football official with the sport?
Okay. Well, for sure, to understand all the rules, because, for example, on my position, side judge, field judge, it's more familiar for me because I was wide receiver and, you know. But when I work as a center judge or referee, I have to watch like the all that happens in the center of the field. And at at the beginning, it was not too familiar for me, like my vision or that I have to watch everything. So yeah, I think that was a challenge for me. Talking about
Absolutely.
the speed of the game, but
And that's a
also,
challenge for everybody. That's not just you. That's a challenge for everybody.
okay,
So and working at different levels, it's still a
yeah,
challenge. You know,
yeah,
you're not alone in that one.
okay, cool,
Mm.
good to know. Yeah, and also with children, it's challenging because of the audience, because of the moms and dads yelling, yeah, trying to protect the children. So that's the challenge with the kids. Yeah.
So it's not much different than here in the U.S.
Okay.
Because it's the parents that sometimes can make things a little bit more difficult, especially
Yeah.
the parents that don't really know the rules, which you obviously do know the rules. That makes it a little bit more difficult. So I could definitely see how that is. How with the popularity of the NFL growing in Mexico, um, are the fans, the parents, are they recognizing that there are rule differences to the NCAA rules that you're working?
Well. Yeah, sometimes no. Sometimes
Yeah.
they have that like the NFL in mind, and yeah, they don't know the differences of the rules. So yeah, that's could be trouble because they start yelling, and yeah, they get
It's
mad
what
if
they
they think you're doing a wrong call. So yeah, that happens here too.
Oh yeah. It happens here. So again, you're not alone in that. Um,
Cool.
now, are there any like major rule differences between what you're doing in Mexico as opposed to what we're doing here in the United States? You said you're following the NCAA rule book. Are
Mhm.
you following that like to a T? Are you following that directly, or are there any modifications to the rules that you've
Yeah.
adapted in Mexico?
Well, for um, no, I think just for children categories, there's some changes for the safety of the players, and yeah, but there are like some agreements of the league. Um, yeah, but not there are not many differences.
Okay.
The Sometimes we didn't change to the, for example, when the change of I don't know 2024 change in the rule book, we didn't apply it until the college category
Okay.
start. Yeah, we didn't apply it for the others leagues, for example with Jode, or another category that is intermediate. It's
Okay.
like before college but after high school.
Okay. All
Like
right.
18 to 20 years, there's another category. They play like in a spring, so we didn't apply the change of rules until college start, until the season of college football in August September start the college season, and we applied the changes in that in that league.
So that you just brought up the different seasons, and that's something I never even thought to possibly ask. But do you play? Is it a fall season? The game of football for you? Is it springtime? Is it
Uh,
fall? When do you normally? What months do you play for the
okay.
games?
Yeah, most of the time was
Okay.
spring season. Yeah, but then I think was a year when my team play on a fall season, but I didn't play in um that season. Yeah, but most of the
Okay.
time was spring. Yeah, I think because here in Mexico the most important uh, league is like the major league, that it's college football, that started in August, September. So all the rest of the leagues try to do on spring, and to not be like in the same time.
Okay. Trying not to interfere with it.
Yeah.
So here we're pretty much just our fall season. Basically from August to there's a couple of states that are just finishing up their playoffs, and obviously the
Yeah.
NCAA is still going on, and the NFL still goes on for a couple more months. But just recently, again now with the adaptation of the UFL leagues, I don't know if you're familiar with
Mhm.
the UFL. Um, the XFL and the USFL merging together last year for the spring football. So that's still relatively new for our area with the spring football, but that is definitely growing in popularity.
Okay.
And the big thing for that is it's giving a lot of players an opportunity to kind of make a name for themselves in the spring to get some more well, basically some more tape out there that the NFL teams can see them playing at a higher
Hmm.
competitive level to try to hopefully get picked up for the NFL. So we do have a little bit of spring, but we're predominantly a fall type season here.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's a great opportunity for football.
So tell me a little bit about the culture down there, the culture of American football down there. Is it getting popular? Is it televised? Is there things like that? Like what are it's still a soccer dominated sport country, but where would football fall into that? American football fall into that category? Would it be soccer first, and then say basketball next in popularity, and then football? Like where would you kind of throw American football in there?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's like in or five place. Like it's
Okay.
soccer, box, um, baseball. Baseball has a lot of history here in Mexico too,
Yep.
and I think it's between basketball and football. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's after soccer, box, and and baseball. But it's getting more popularity, I think, because of the professional league here in Mexico. Um, it's very young, that league. Uh, it started in 2016,
Okay.
and yeah, and there was only four teams, but it has been growing, and now there are, well, this year, um, there it has nine teams, but they
Okay.
have like another franchises like Impulse, but
All right.
probably it could be join more teams, so it's getting more popular in some other places, because it was very centric, like in Mexico City. But now there are teams in the north. Here in Jalisco, there is a professional team. Um, so I think it's getting popularity with that league, and also it's a very uh, familiar environment.
Okay.
So, for example, with college or with youth categories or children, um, always goes all the family to watch the games, and I think that's really cool. It's a little bit different from soccer. Soccer sometimes the audience in soccer games are a little bit uh, intense, and sometimes could be fights, and yeah. So for football, American football, I think it's more familiar,
Okay.
and it's really nice. Yeah.
Nice. I love hearing it's more of the family oriented. Now, with the professional teams, where like what kind of stadiums are they playing at, and are they at some of the soccer stadiums?
Yeah. Well, for some um for some cities are hard because yeah, they only have soccer stadiums, or I don't know. Uh, Many of them play in, for example, in the college stadiums, like
Okay.
yeah, from the team that are in that city, the college football team. Sometimes the professional team play in that stadium, and in other cases are in soccer stadiums, like I think in Tijuana, it's a soccer stadium. um in Mexico City are specific for American football.
Hmm.
um and yeah, but we need to improve. I think Mexico need to improve, or to have more facilities for specific for football, for
Okay.
American football. Yeah, definitely.
A- And as the sport continues to grow, I'm sure that there will be an ascension with that. Um, I want to go back to some of the challenges that you're facing just as an overall sport in Mexico. Um, you said that there's a couple of teams that are on pause. Does that mean that they're going to be starting up into the league, or they have started and now they're kind of paused and hopefully looking to get back into it? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. There are some teams that had participated before on the league, but then took a pause, like because of money issues.
Hmm.
Yeah, here I think the biggest challenge here in Mexico with American football is the cost. Um, Soccer is not expensive,
Yeah.
but American football it is. So yeah, I think that's the main challenge. We need investors, sponsors. So yeah, um, hopefully many of these teams could join the league again and make it more competitive, because I think with the past of the years, um, it's been growing and it's been getting more competitive. Um, Teams hire American players
Okay.
from, I don't know, college, or even from, like, some players retired from NFL has been playing here in Mexico in some teams. So
Oh, very nice.
I think that's great to elevate the performance of all the players and increase the competitiveness. So yeah.
So with that, you're talking with sponsorships and stuff like that. How has the public's feedback been towards it? Are different companies getting involved and helping out? Obviously, like you said, it's still very young, the league. So, but are you seeing an uptick with that happening in certain areas?
Well, yes, I think now they have more like companies getting involved, or investors, but not as many as we want. And I think um it's also because, for example, here in Jalisco, there are not many audience in the games.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they need to promote more the games. Actually, this year, this league, the professional league LFA, organized a flag football tournament,
Okay.
um, to yeah to get like more popularity, because we know that flag football, it's also getting uh yeah, more eyes in that sport,
Yes, it
because
is.
yeah, so, and flag football is not so expensive. So yeah, it's like the way also NFL is getting more people involved with the NFL flag um tournament. Also have, yeah, so
Okay.
here they try to do the same, and yeah, they are making some efforts um to get the league working here in Mexico.
Okay.
So yeah.
So now, kind of transitioning again, or we were talking a lot about just the overall league. Let's transition back to you and your officiating career. What is what's a memorable moment that you have in your officiating career that really stands out when you start talking about your officiating career? You have one moment that you really like?
Okay. Yeah. On my first year, as an on-field official in December 2022, um, was a female tackle football bowl, in Mexico City.
Okay.
So one of my mentors that unfortunately passed away this year, um,
I'm sorry.
they organized an all-female crew in officiating for that bowl. And this bowl was before a bowl that it's organized all the years with the college with college players after
Okay.
the season ends. um, the ONEFA, that is the league that rule this college football, they make like an all pro team with Mexico, and then they play against a US team. I don't know.
Okay.
It's um from an university or something, and they came to play a bowl here. So this game, this female bowl, was before that another bowl, and yeah, it was the first time that an all female crew worked a game of football here in Mexico, and I work as a referee, as a white hat. So yeah, what was really interesting, was really fun, but also I was really nervous because yeah, I I was really new in
Okay.
officiating, but my mentor saw something in me, so yeah, I just did it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That they saw that in you, and you were able to go out there and perform to your best in a big game in Mexico City. I mean that's pretty awesome. So yeah, we
Thank
all definitely have those moments that will definitely stand out of a particular game or something like that. Is there a particular play in your career that stands out, like a crazy type of play or a wacky play that you're like, wait a minute, what just happened there? Something to that.
Oh, yes, yes, of course. Yeah, I remember one of the professional league in my first year in that league. I have a not so crazy, but was a high call because
Okay.
yeah, I thought that was a complete reception, and fortunately we have replay. So yeah, all the coaches and the players was yelling at me because yeah, they thought that I have a wrong call there, and yeah, I have the wrong call, but you know that you have to decide quickly
Uh-huh.
and be sure of that. And well, we have the replay, and yeah, they reverse the call, and was yeah, I get nervous with that, but I think that kind of situations help to uh grow not just on knowledge, but also in character, and yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's one thing that people don't understand. And you guys are lucky that you have the replay system to kind of help you out. But you're making that call with what you
Hmm.
see and right at the moment, not on saying, "Oh well, I have replay. I'm going to allow that play to do that." It's no, this is what I saw. I have it at a complete pass, and
Yeah,
you you got to stick to your guns in that aspect and sell what you
yeah,
see. And so that's good that you're
exactly.
doing that. But so.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you up much longer. I truly appreciate you taking the time to come on. And for the fans out there, Cris was a little bit nervous coming on today because of her accent. And I think you've done a fantastic job of getting all of your points across. So I do appreciate that you're kind of challenging yourself and being on the show too. So it's another great check mark for you. Um, how can people aspire to be like you, to what you're doing in your area? What resources are there out there for people in Mexico, for other females to get involved in the game of football that you could possibly help them out with?
Well, what I did was get as many mentors as I can. I think have a mentor is really important. Um, so for women, I think they can, for example, look for other women in case because sometimes we are a little shy to ask to men or something. So I think
Okay.
uh, there are more women in officiating here in Mexico. Most of them are on flag football, but it's I think it's a way to start it, and then look for resources with crews in their cities. And yeah, as I told you before, we have access to the resources that you have in the US. So
Hmm.
yeah, we are not creating anything new. We are learning football and trying to do something similar of what you do in the US. So yeah, I think the way to start it is to ask for help, have a mentor, and don't be uh don't be shy. I don't know, just do it.
Just do
Just
it.
start it.
Listen, that's exactly it. Just go out there and do it, because it's the only way that you're going to get better is by doing it, and going out there and
Yeah,
making a mistake here and there and learning from
yeah,
that mistake, and understanding that it's going to happen. Um,
exactly.
Cris,
Yeah,
uh, I think you've had a fantastic journey. I love hearing your rise through the ranks as a player and now as an official. And if there's anything that I can do for you in the future, please feel free to reach out. I would love to be a resource for you or for anybody else, if I could. We're kind of separated by a couple thousand miles, but if
yeah.
there's anything that I can do, be it through a resource like this, please feel free to reach out. Um, and I'd love
Thank you
to
so much.
stay in touch with you and hear as you continue to grow through the sport, and hopefully get that white hat on as in a full time capacity. That'd be fantastic to hear.
Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, that will be great. And
Absolutely,
hopefully, maybe one day I can go to the US to work high school or something.
that'd be fantastic. That would definitely
Yeah.
be an awesome experience. Well,
Yes.
Cris, once again, Cris Ascanio. Am I saying it correctly again? Am I 2 for 2?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that's true.
Coming to us from Mexico. Uh, Once again, Cris, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to all that are out there. Cris, truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and coming on today. We're recording it's the day after Christmas, so do appreciate it. And once again, thank you very much for jumping on Whistle Talk.
Thank you so much, Mike, for the opportunity. And I think it's really important that you give the voice to people from another country. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and happy holidays for you too.
Thank you very much.